For them to actually see the face and see the show happening in front of them is quite something unusual. She threw a cup of urine in a director's face. She slapped crew members who touched her wig, but at 84, Faye Dunaway is finally confessing which famous co-star made her life hell. Their feud was so toxic, they couldn't even eat lunch in the same room. What happened next shocked everyone on set. This is the ugly truth Hollywood tried to hide for years. Faye Dunaway was born Dorothy. Faye Dunaway on January 14, 1941, in Bascom, Florida. Her father, John McDowell, Dunaway Jr., was a non-commissioned officer in the U.S. Army. Her mother, Grace April Smith, was a housewife. Because of her father's military career, the family moved constantly. One year they were in Mannheim, Germany. Another year they were in Dugway, Utah. These constant relocations shaped Dunaway's childhood. She had to adapt quickly wherever they went, but she also gained a broader view of the world. Her parents had married young in 1939, but their relationship didn't last. By 1955, when Dunaway was 14, they divorced. She had one younger brother, Maximian Dunaway, who later became a lawyer. Her background was a mix of Ulster Scottish, Irish, and German ancestry. Growing up, she was drawn to the arts. She took ballet lessons, learned tap dancing, practiced piano, and trained in singing. She wasn't just interested in performing, she was serious about it. Though most biographies list Bascom as her birthplace, people from the tiny community of Two Egg, Florida, still claim her as their own. The town was too small to have a post office, but to the locals, she was one of them. No matter where she was from, her small-town upbringing didn't stop her from dreaming big. She attended Leon High School in Tallahassee, then started college at the University of Florida on a teaching scholarship. At first, she planned to become a teacher, but her passion for acting was too strong to ignore. She transferred to Boston University's School of Fine and Applied Arts and graduated in 1962 with a degree in theater. While at Boston University, she worked with respected director Lloyd Richards and performed in The Crucible, where playwright Arthur Miller himself saw her act. She also spent a summer at Harvard's Loeb Drama Center, performing alongside Jane Alexander. After graduating at 21, she kept training. She studied at the American National Theater and Academy in New York and took classes at the HB Studio. She didn't waste any time. In 1962, the same year she graduated, she landed a role in A Man for All Seasons on Broadway, playing the daughter of Thomas More. From there, her stage career took off. She appeared in After the Fall in Hogan's Goat. In 1965, her performance in Hogan's Goat earned critical praise and helped launch her career. The play's writer William Alfred became a mentor and father figure to her. She later said his influence was one of the most important in her life. She didn't stay on the stage for long. In 1965, she made the jump to television, appearing in Seaway and The Trials of O'Brien. These roles helped her transition from theater to screen. She had already proven herself on Broadway, but television was different. The performances had to be more natural, more subtle. She adjusted quickly. Hollywood was paying attention. Faye Dunaway's life changed in 1967 when she played Bonnie Parker in Bonnie and Clyde. Before that, she had only been in a few small roles. Afterward, she became one of the most talked-about actresses in Hollywood. The film told the story of Bonnie and Clyde, two criminals during the Great Depression. But it wasn't just another crime movie. It had style, energy, and a sense of danger that felt new. Dunaway's performance made Bonnie more than just a bank robber. She was smart, fearless, and deeply in love with Clyde. The way she carried herself, her confidence, her sharp gaze, the way she made crime look almost glamorous, made audiences obsessed with her. She earned an Academy Award nomination for Best Actress and won the BAFTA for Most Promising Newcomer. She also took home the David Di Donatello Award for Best Foreign Actress. In just one film, she became a star. The movie was controversial when it came out, People were shocked by the violence, especially in the final scene where Bonnie and Clyde are gunned down in slow motion. Some critics said it glorified criminals. Others thought it was one of the most daring films of the decade. Over time, it became clear that Bonnie and Clyde wasn't just a hit. It was a turning point for Hollywood. The way it mixed violence, romance, and rebellion made it unlike anything before. It helped start the new Hollywood movement, where filmmakers took more risks and pushed storytelling in new directions. A huge part of the film's success came from the chemistry between Dunaway and Warren Beatty, who played Clyde Barrow. Beatty wasn't just her co-star. He also produced the movie, which meant he had a hand in almost every decision. He wanted everything to be perfect. That sometimes led to tension between him and Dunaway, but their clashes made their performances even stronger. They worked off each other's energy, creating a relationship on screen that felt electric. Critics noticed. Roger Ebert, one of the most respected film reviewers of the time, said Dunaway and Beatty's performances were the best of their careers. The film came out during a time of change. In 1967, America was in the middle of the Vietnam War, and people were questioning authority more than ever. Bonnie and Clyde fit right into that mood. It didn't treat Bonnie and Clyde as simple criminals. Instead, it made them complex, even likable. That was rare in Hollywood at the time. The movie's style also set it apart. The slow-motion violence, the fast-moving story, the way it made crime look thrilling, all of it influenced future filmmakers like Martin Scorsese and Quentin Tarantino. Even the way movies were rated changed because of it. Before Bonnie and Clyde, Hollywood had strict rules about violence and crime in movies. This film helped break those rules, paving the way for the modern rating system. For Dunaway, Bonnie and Clyde was just the beginning. Before 1967, she had been in movies like The Happening, but she wasn't well known. Afterward, she was one of the most sought-after actresses in Hollywood. She starred in The Thomas Crown Affair in 1968, Chinatown in 1974, and Network in 1976. Each film showed a different side of her. In Chinatown, she played Evelyn Mulray, a woman with deep secrets. In Network, she played Diana Christensen, a ruthless television producer. That role won her an Academy Award for Best Actress. Years later, Dunaway looked back at Bonnie and Clyde as the film that changed everything. "It turned me into a star," she said. "I was now among actresses who would do work that was art." The movie didn't just make her famous, it made her part of film history. Faye Dunaway's rise to fame in the 1970s was nothing short of unstoppable. She wasn't just another Hollywood actress. She was a force on screen, taking on roles that were bold, complex, and unforgettable. Her breakout moment came in The Thomas Crown Affair in 1968, playing Vicki Anderson, a sharp-witted insurance investigator. She was put up against Steve McQueen's character, Thomas Crown, a millionaire mastermind behind a series of bank heists. Their relationship was a mix of attraction and competition. Every scene between them felt like a battle of wits, but the real highlight was the chess scene. Director Norman Jewison used close-ups and split-screen effects to make it more than just a game. Every glance, every move built tension until it became one of the most famous seduction scenes in Hollywood. The chemistry between Dunaway and McQueen was undeniable. Off-screen, things weren't always smooth. McQueen was demanding, insisting on wearing $400 custom suits, over $3,500 today, and even learning polo for authenticity. Dunaway, with her theater background, focused on building her character's depth. The two had different styles, but at work, the film became a classic. Its theme song, The Windmills of Your Mind, won an Academy Award, and Dunaway became known as an actress who could match any leading man in intensity and intelligence. By 1974, she was already a star, but Chinatown turned her into a legend. Playing Evelyn Mulray, she stepped into one of the most haunting roles of her career. At first, Evelyn seemed like the classic femme fatale, elegant, mysterious, and impossible to read. But as the film unfolded, her character became more tragic, hiding a secret that would change everything. The moment she finally broke down and revealed the truth about her daughter Catherine was devastating. It wasn't just a shocking twist, it was pure heartbreak. Jack Nicholson played private investigator J.J. Gittes, a man determined to uncover the truth. His scenes with Dunaway were filled with tension, suspicion, and moments of rare tenderness. Critics praised her performance. Roger Ebert called it one of the most layered portrayals in film history. Chinatown earned 11 Academy Award nominations, and Dunaway's performance became one of the most studied in cinema. But filming wasn't easy. Roman Polanski was known for being difficult. One of the most infamous moments on set happened when he yanked out a stray hair from Dunaway's head without warning, leading to a furious argument. Still, the tension behind the scenes only added to the film's raw energy. Then came Network in 1976, and Dunaway showed a completely different side of herself. She played Diana Christensen, a television executive obsessed with ratings and power. It was a role unlike anything she had done before. Diana didn't care about love or morals. She cared about success. She manipulated everyone around her, pushing the limits of television for the sake of bigger audiences. Even in private moments, she couldn't stop thinking about business. Critics were stunned by how fearless she was in the role. Diana was ruthless, unapologetic, and impossible to ignore. Some people found the character too cold, too inhuman, but that was exactly the point. She represented the new era of media, one where entertainment came before ethics. Network was a scathing critique of television's future, and it turned out to be frighteningly accurate. Dunaway won the Academy Award for Best Actress, proving she was at the top of her game. Between these heavy dramas, she also took on a thriller in 3 Days of the Condor in 1975, playing Kathy Hale, a photographer who gets caught up in a CIA conspiracy. She had to balance fear, intelligence, and quick thinking. The film paired her with Robert Redford, one of the biggest stars of the time. Their chemistry made the film's tension even stronger. Off-screen, Dunaway joked that it was difficult to act terrified when being kidnapped by someone as charming as Redford. But her performance was more than just a love interest role. She gave Kathy depth, turning her into someone who wasn't just caught in the middle, but actively trying to survive. The film was a huge success and earned her a Golden Globe nomination. By the late 1970s, she was at the peak of her career. Then came Mommy Dearest in 1981, a film that changed everything. She took the role of Joan Crawford, believing it would show a different side of her talent. The film was based on Christina Crawford's book, which portrayed her mother as abusive and controlling. Dunaway saw it as a chance to bring depth to a misunderstood Hollywood legend. But something went wrong. What was meant to be a serious drama turned into an unintentional comedy. Paramount Pictures realized during early screenings that audiences were laughing at scenes that were supposed to be disturbing. Instead of sympathy, people felt amusement. Instead of a tragic mother-daughter story, it became a cult phenomenon for all the wrong reason. The most infamous scene in the film became a defining moment in Dunaway's career. In a fit of rage, Joan Crawford screams, "No wire hangers ever!" while attacking her daughter. The way Dunaway delivered the line, her wild expression, her exaggerated fury, turned it into something larger than the film itself. Audiences couldn't take it seriously. Critics were ruthless. Roger Ebert gave it 1 star, calling it a painful experience. It won 5 Golden Raspberry Awards, including Worst Actress for Dunaway. Even though the movie made $25 million on a $10 million budget, the damage was done. Dunaway had gone from Oscar-winning actress to the face of Hollywood excess. Behind the scenes, things had not been much better. Dunaway was known for her intense method acting, staying in character at all times. On Mommy Dearest, This made working with her difficult. Rutania Alda, who played Joan Crawford's assistant, later said that Dunaway was controlling and demanding, making the set stressful. After the film's release, Dunaway realized how badly it had affected her career. She later admitted it gave people the wrong impression of her, and she regretted taking the role. Before Mommy Dearest, she was seen as one of the best actresses of her generation. Afterward, directors hesitated to cast her. For the rest of the 1980s, she struggled to find roles that matched her earlier success. She moved to England and focused on television. In 1984, she starred in Ellis Island, a miniseries that won her a Golden Globe for Best Supporting Actress. But she missed making serious films. She later said that television scripts did not have the depth of movies like Chinatown. Her personal life also took a hit. In 1987, she divorced photographer Terry O'Neill, another setback in an already difficult decade. That same year, she found a role that reminded audiences why she had been a star in the first place. She played Wanda Wilcox in Barfly, a gritty drama based on Charles Bukowski's semi-autobiographical novel. Starring opposite Mickey Rourke, she played an alcoholic woman caught in a toxic love affair. The role was raw and unglamorous. Critics loved it. Pauline Kael called it one of her finest performances. Roger Ebert, who had once mocked Mommy Dearest, praised her for pushing herself in a way few actresses would. She received her 6th Golden Globe nomination, and for a brief moment it seemed like she was making a comeback. In the 1990s, she shifted to television again, and in 1993, she had one of her most celebrated roles in Columbo. It's all in the game. Peter Falk, who played the legendary detective, had written the episode himself, specifically with Dunaway in mind. She played Lauren Staton, a charming socialite caught in a game of cat and mouse with Columbo. The chemistry between them was electric. The episode was unlike any other in the series, focusing more on the tension between the two characters. Critics praised her performance, and she won the Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Guest Actress. She later called it a moment of redemption, proving she could still command the screen. In 1996, she took on another powerful role, playing opera legend Maria Callas in Masterclass, a Broadway play by Terrence McNally. The production imagined Callas teaching a master class, reliving her past through lessons with young singers. Dunaway studied Callas intensely, watching interviews and listening to recordings to capture her voice and mannerisms. The performance was one of the best of her career. Critics and audiences gave her standing ovations every night. The role mirrored Dunaway's own journey, an artist struggling with fame, aging, and the need for perfection. During the same period, she worked with Johnny Depp in 2 films. In 1993, she starred in Arizona Dream, a surreal comedy drama where she played Elaine Stalker, an eccentric woman obsessed with building a flying machine. The film did not do well at the box office, but later became a cult favorite. In 1995, she reunited with Depp in Don Juan de Marcos, playing Marilyn Mickler, a woman rediscovering romance through her husband's interactions with a man who believes he is Don Juan. Starring alongside Marlon Brando, Dunaway brought warmth and elegance to the role. The film was well received and reminded audiences of her talent. She continued acting into the 2000s, though her roles were smaller. In 2017, she appeared in Inconceivable, a psychological thriller with Nicolas Cage and Gina Gershon. The film received mixed reviews, but Dunaway added weight to her character. That same year, she reunited with Warren Beatty at the Academy Awards to present Best Picture. It should have been a moment celebrating their legendary film, Bonnie and Clyde. Instead, it turned into one of the biggest Oscar mistakes in history. Due to a mix-up with the envelopes, Dunaway mistakenly announced La La Land as the winner when Moonlight had actually won. The mistake went viral instantly. Though it was not her fault, it became another unusual chapter in her career. Faye Dunaway's love life was as intense as the character she played on screen. In 1968, she met Italian actor Marcello Mastroianni while filming A Place for Lovers. Their chemistry was electric, and soon their on-screen romance became real. But there was a problem. Mastroianni was already married to Flora Carabella. That didn't stop him from falling for Dunaway, and it didn't stop her from loving him back. For 2 years, their relationship was a whirlwind of passion and secrecy. Dunaway disguised herself with wigs and oversized sunglasses whenever she visited him in Rome, trying to avoid the paparazzi. She dreamed of marriage and children, but Mastroianni refused to divorce his wife. He was a devout Catholic, and to him, marriage was forever. Dunaway waited, hoping he would change his mind. Then, in December 1969, she attended a Christmas party and saw Mastroianni with his wife, smiling and affectionate. It was a moment of clarity. She realized he would never leave, and her heart broke. Shortly after, she ended the relationship. Years later, both admitted their regrets. Dunaway often wondered what their life could have been if they had married. Mastroianni called her the woman I loved the most, and never forgot her. Their story remains one of Hollywood's most heartbreaking romances. By 1972, Dunaway had moved on. That year, she met Peter Wolf, lead singer of the J. Giles Band, backstage at a concert in San Francisco. She was drawn to him immediately. His deep voice, his wild energy, his mysterious charm, she found it irresistible. 2 years later, they were married. It seemed like the perfect match. She was one of Hollywood's biggest stars. He was a rock star at the height of his career, but their busy schedules kept them apart. He was constantly touring. She was always on set. The distance became too much, and by 1979, their marriage ended. People speculated that Wolf's hit song, Love Stinks, was about their breakup, but he denied it. Unlike many Hollywood divorces, theirs wasn't bitter. There was no scandal, no big fight. Just two people whose careers pulled them in opposite directions. Even after the divorce, Dunaway spoke fondly of Wolf, calling him an important part of her life. In 1977, she met British photographer Terry O'Neill during a photo shoot for People magazine. The connection was instant, but their romance didn't begin right away. Over time, their relationship grew, and in 1980, they made a life-changing decision. They adopted a baby boy named Liam. 3 years later, they got married. From the outside, it seemed like a perfect new chapter. But behind the scenes, things were complicated. Hollywood pressure and personal differences slowly drove them apart. By 1987, their marriage was over. Rumors started to swirl. Some believed Dunaway had secretly given birth to Liam and kept it hidden. While O'Neill finalized his divorce from his previous wife, others insisted Liam was adopted. O'Neill later said their relationship became too difficult to maintain, but he always stayed involved in Liam's life. For Dunaway, motherhood became her greatest role. After the divorce, she raised Liam as a single mother while continuing her career. She often brought him to film premieres and red carpet events, making sure he was part of her world. As he grew up, their bond remained strong. In 2022, Liam started his own family, welcoming a son named Oliver with his partner Mackenzie Roth. Then in 2024, Liam worked with his mother on Faye, a documentary that premiered at the Cannes Film Festival. It explored her rise to fame, her struggles with mental health, and the challenges of balancing stardom with personal life. Faye Dunaway was one of the most talented actresses of her time, but her off-screen behavior made just as many headlines as her performances. One of the most bizarre allegations came from an independent film set, where crew members claimed she defecated on a costume out of spite. The exact details remain unclear, but the story became one of the most infamous examples of her diva-like behavior. Those who worked with her described her as demanding and often impossible to please. She had a habit of belittling crew members and lashing out at co-star. Whether this particular story was true or not, It fit into a long pattern of erratic behavior that made her both feared and admired in Hollywood. Her personal life was just as dramatic. Peter Wolf, lead singer of the J. Giles Band and her ex-husband, revealed in his 1995 memoir, Waiting on the Moon, that Dunaway had an affair with Jack Nicholson while they were married. It happened during the filming of Chinatown in 1973. Wolf was downstairs in their home, completely unaware that Dunaway was in bed with Nicholson upstairs. When he found out, his reaction was explosive. In a fit of rage, he grabbed a coffee table covered in cocaine and threw it into Nicholson's pool. Despite this betrayal, Wolf and Dunaway somehow moved past it. They got married in 1974, but the relationship remained volatile. After years of fighting, they divorced in 1979. Not every romance ended in disaster. Italian actor Marcello Mastroianni once called Dunaway the woman I loved most. They met in 1968 while filming A Place for Lovers. Their chemistry was so intense that director Vittorio De Sica had to step in during love scenes, sometimes throwing water on them to break it up. Their affair lasted for 2 years, but Mastroianni was already married to actress Flora Carabella. He refused to leave his wife, which devastated Dunaway. She ended things after seeing him and Carabella together at a Christmas party in 1969. He never got over her. Until his death in 1996, he spoke of Dunaway as the great love of his life, always regretting that he let her go through. By the 1980s, Dunaway was still landing major roles, but her reputation for being difficult only grew. On the set of Mommy Dearest in 1981, she slapped her co-star, Rutenia Alda Osoda, on the first day of filming. It wasn't scripted. It wasn't planned. She hit her with full force. Alda later said that moment set the tone for the rest of the production. The atmosphere was tense. Dunaway threw herself into the role of Joan Crawford so completely that some believed she had started to mirror the real-life Crawford's intense and controlling nature. The performance became one of her most famous, but many who worked on the film described the experience as miserable. Even in the later years of her career, her outbursts didn't stop. In 2019, she was cast in Tea at 5, a Broadway-bound play about Katharine Hepburn. The production didn't last long. Dunaway was fired before it even reached the stage. Crew members described the work environment as dangerous. She slapped assistants trying to adjust her wig. She threw objects at staff. She made strange demands, like forbidding anyone from wearing white near her because she found it distracting. The situation got worse when she left furious voicemails for the creative team and forced staff to scrub her dressing room floor on their hands and kneaded. The breaking point came when a performance had to be canceled minutes before the curtain went up because of one of her outbursts. The producers decided they had enough. They fired her immediately. Faye Dunaway and Bette Davis were two of the most powerful actresses in Hollywood. When they worked together on the disputed title in the late 1970s, it was more than just a film. It became one of the most famous feuds in the industry. Davis had been a star for decades. She was known for her sharp wit, strong work ethic, and no-nonsense attitude. Dunaway belonged to the new generation of actors who believed in method acting and deep character exploration. Their approaches were different, and from the start, they were bound to clash. The tension first erupted during an important scene. Davis delivered her lines perfectly in one take and expected to move on. Dunaway wasn't satisfied. She wanted multiple retakes to make it better. Davis grew impatient and said, "I don't have all day." Dunaway refused to back down. "We need to get this right," she insisted. The argument set the tone for the entire production. Another major fight happened when they disagreed on how to block a scene. Davis preferred a simple setup. Dunaway wanted to experiment with different angles. The director, Robert Aldrich, tried to calm things down, but nothing could ease the tension. Things got worse when their conflict turned physical. In one scene, Dunaway had to slap Davis. They did several takes, and by the end, Davis's cheek was visibly red. She never complained, but the incident deepened their animosity. Off-screen, they avoided each other. Davis refused to sit at the same table as Dunaway during lunch. Instead, she ate alone in her trailer. The press quickly picked up on their feud. Gossip columns published story after story about their fights. When Davis was asked about Dunaway years later, she didn't hesitate. "The worst person I ever worked with," she said. Despite the hostility, their performances were outstanding. The tension between them made their on-screen rivalry feel real. The film was a success, but their relationship remained one of the most infamous in Hollywood. Not all of Dunaway's working relationships were this tense. She had a more complicated but ultimately respectful dynamic with Jack Nicholson. They starred together in Chinatown in 1974, a neo-noir film that became a classic. The movie earned 11 Oscar nominations and won Best Original Screenplay. Their chemistry was undeniable, but the production was not without its difficulties. One of the most intense scenes in the film involved Nicholson slapping Dunaway's character after she reveals a shocking secret. At first, they used fake slaps. Dunaway wasn't happy with the result. She insisted that Nicholson slap her for real to make the moment more powerful. Nicholson hesitated. "You sure, Dredd?" he asked, using the nickname he had given her. She nodded. When he finally slapped her, the intensity of the scene changed completely. Nicholson respected Dunaway's dedication, but he also found her difficult at times. He started calling her the dreaded Dunaway because of how demanding she could be on set. Despite the occasional friction, they worked well together. Their performances helped make Chinatown one of the greatest films of the 1970s. The real battle on Chinatown wasn't between Dunaway and Nicholson. It was between Dunaway and Roman Polanski. Their relationship was one of the most explosive director-actor conflicts in Hollywood history. From the beginning, Polanski insisted on casting Dunaway, despite producer Robert Evans warning him about her reputation for being difficult. Polanski didn't care. He liked working with actors who challenged him, but once filming started, their personalities clashed in ways no one expected. One of their worst fights happened early in production. During a scene, a single strand of Dunaway's hair kept falling across her face. After multiple failed attempts to fix it, Polanski lost patience. Without warning, he walked over and yanked the hair out himself. Dunaway was furious. She stormed off set and refused to return for hours. Later, she described his actions as incessant cruelty. Their arguments weren't just about personal space. They fought constantly over creative choices. Polanski was a perfectionist who controlled every detail. Dunaway wanted more freedom. One of their worst fights ended with Dunaway throwing a cup of liquid in his face. Some witnesses said it was water. Others claimed it was urine. Whatever the truth, it was clear they could barely stand to be in the same room. Despite the chaos, Chinatown became a masterpiece. Years later, both Dunaway and Polanski admitted that their conflicts contributed to the film's intensity. Polanski called her formidable. Dunaway, despite everything, acknowledged that his directing was brilliant.